Hey folks, Nick Bergen here. I'm going to do a little walkthrough of one of my favorite tunes off the Jules Leyhe record. It's called The Blues. Let's check it out. So, as you may have guessed, The Blues is primarily based off of a 12-bar blues pattern and features three really sick solos from our band. The first one by Nancy, our sax player, and then we have a solo by Ian, the piano player, and then finally Jules takes a really sick guitar solo. And then in between, we have these sort of like EDM like energy build-up sections where we take some gestures of modern production and EDM and sort of infuse them into this blues world. But the tune actually starts in this kind of churchy gospel scene with Jules playing slide along with Ian on organ. Let's listen to that.
Father, I stretch my hand to thee.
So yeah, just a really nice, pretty intro, and then I put this piece of audio here.
Father, I stretch my hands to thee, no other help I know. Yes. Thou withdraw.
So this is just a sermon that I found on the Library of Congress website. Jules and I are both really into integrating dialogue, and especially if it sounds kind of historical, it's just a really cool way to make the music tell more of a story. It's just, it makes it less literal and sort of causes the listener to create these associations and really places the music into a certain world. So next, speaking of which, we sort of move from the church into this like blues club scene, like rowdy, kind of grimy blues club scene with Jules sort of taking the lead on slide guitar as we enter this build section to the first solo. So I love the horns here. Shane, our brass player, did these kind of like freight train horn sounds on the trombone with a little trumpet response. And then Nancy wrote her own part here. So there's the sax. So those are going, and then we also have this crowd sound. And as you can hear, we have Jules tucked in there. Sounds kind of silly on its own, but it helps build the energy and just gives it some human life. This is not so human, but we have this like kind of EDM like percussion build thing going up. It's kind of tucked in there. Just sort of a goofy, typical build thing, but again, it's like all about like creating that energy and momentum towards what's essentially a drop, which is Nancy coming in on the sax. That's this part. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite solos on the record. It's just awesome from head to toe, and we of course put a lot of saturation on it, kind of distorted it to give it that really honky sort of like grungy sound. And I think I really love how doing that and compressing it in that way, you can hear Nancy breathing if we just solo this sax track. So that's great. And then we also have these little trap hats here that are going, panned hard left and right, with a little shuffle groove on them. Cool. So next we go into the piano solo. Another really great solo. So that's our piano player, Ian McArdle. And the idea was originally to make it sound kind of like Art Tatum, sort of a vintage piano recording. So we just did that we used a little plugin called Abbey Road Vinyl. And then we also just sort of filtered off some of that high end. And I really like the piano sound. And then we go back into the sort of build section here before the last solo. So we have this trap snare that's kind of dancing around, just sort of like panning around. And then let's see here, what else? We got the horns back in, and then we layered a bunch of riser sounds. Okay, so yeah, that's a slide guitar. It's very cool. All right, so here is the guitar solo that Jules played on his Strat, and then we also have some really great background horn parts from Shane. Solo trading section. Back to Jules on the slide. So one of my favorite sounds on the record is actually this final riser sound that Jules played on his slide guitar with a bunch of delay on it. It sounds really cool. So yeah, like a lot of things on the record, we had that sound kind of like panning around. It's just sort of like this sound that's winding up and then, heading towards the big release at the end. And then we have the organ that comes in here at the end. Some really great playing by Ian. And then we also have these tambourines here, hard pan left and right, sort of supplementing our rhythm section. Yeah. So anyways, that's just a little look at the world of the blues. You can go check out the track in its entirety on all the major streaming platforms. You can go buy the record on Bandcamp. It really helps us out if you can contribute. And most of all, we hope that you enjoy listening to the record and let us know what you think. Thanks. Peace.